Title: Indigo. Written by Yongheng. The weather seemed to hate you, even for Liyue, the harbor of all harbors. Graced by its proximity to the ocean, this temperature was undeniably sweltering hot. Blue ocean waters lap at the stone lazily, and through the warmth-induced days by which you were idly staring at the ocean, and for the past 1 hour or so, you see the billowing stark of white fabric of sails, embossed with none other than the Snezhnayan's insignia sail, into view. You can feel the smile make its way into your face as you snap the fan you had been airing yourself with into place with renewed vigor. Men, you call into the back of your shop, with the sign of closed flipping to open in record. Time to thanks the alacrity that found its way into your hands. There are sounds of audible yawns and grunts as your employees shuffle to the front of the shop. You cross your hands across the front of your chest. Hmm. It seems that our favorite patron has descended upon us yet again. To Scaramouche, Liyue was yet another city to traverse through. Get business done in, and then forget, and perhaps revisit again when the time was deemed right by his higher powers. The inconsequential image of Liyue, of course, dissipates when he sees the small shop at the harbor, where he can see the silhouette of its damned owner smiling her Cheshire cat grin that he had only seen her flash at her most expensive customer. Of how he absolutely loathed you, other than the fact that he was legally supposed to hire your agency only for official support of Snezhnayan cargo, and that you single-handedly managed to squeeze more mora out of him than any other imbecile he's had the pleasure of meeting. It did not help that you managed to infuriate him to the core by simply breathing within a 5-kilometer radius of him, which you were doing right now. As you were standing up to the dock where his ship had finally landed, his minions saluted you. It was practical reflex and formality as your employees flanked you, hulking giants of men who befitted the job of the packers and movers perfectly. Though he would never admit it to your face, he could understand how you commanded respect so easily. The fact that you were one of the wealthiest businesswomen in Liyue only added to what many seemingly smitten merchants called your down-to-earth personality. Having a geo vision didn't hurt either. He's seen you many a time, cracking jokes genially with your employees and drinking with them as if it were nothing, as if there totally wasn't a clear division of lower and higher. However, all aforementioned feelings of affection, respect, or worst of all, liking, come crumbling down as soon as you open your mouth. Well, well, if it isn't my favorite short stack, I will never understand Liyuan customs. The first person I'm welcomed by is a hag. Hmm, the only hag I see here is you. That hat never fails to add to your aura of a failed child drama actor. And the boots you wear only reassure me that you steps on soul for a living. Better than kissing the ass of a fair lady all year round, I'd say. But clearly, you only reach her ass. Woman, must you test me every single time we meet? If I didn't, there would be no pleasure in our meetings, would there be, Scaramouche? That's your eminence to the likes of you, YN. What eminence does a person standing at a 5 feet nothing hold? Enough to kick your ass? Pure pleasantries, they were. The words that left your mouth after that, and if it weren't for the respective spineless morons to remind you of the job at hand, there would have probably been a large chunk of Liyue Harbor displaced and various charges of vandalism, violence, leveled against the both of you. Now then, that would be about 100,000 mora for the delivery costs alone of the Vajrada jade, and copper ores to the Torres factory, 150,000 for the transportation and protection of the core lapis embossed codexes, and last but not the least, wayfarers, 20% tax. You end, rolling up the scroll with a snap. He glares at you. You smile back. He didn't have any particular shortage of money, but Scaramouche would rather die than pass up an opportunity to complain, especially if it involved you. That's fucking outrageous, woman, he snarls as your eyes flit up to him. Hmm? If it is, why don't you find some other transportation means? I'm sure the Lady of Donkeys in Diwa Marsh would be able to withstand your cargo, you retort, full well knowing that this was going pretty much nowhere. I. You watch your tone with me, he feebly replies. And you watch your wallet. Maybe cut down on the ladies of the night. That Vergolda tells me frequent your room at Wangshu Inn. You say without batting an eyelid. The audacity. The sheer audacity to say it in front of his men, his fleet. Why you little balladeer? That's really no way to properly address a lady, is that now? An all too familiar voice chimes in. Tartaglia? You practically coo as the rosette-haired man lankily strode up to you, flashing his usual charming smile of greeting. He can feel his blood boil. If there are any monetary issues, let me handle it, smirks Child towards an even more infuriated Scaramouche. Just put it on the tab of the bank. Fuck off, Tartaglia. I was just about to pay. Oh, really? You just said it was outrageously shut up. He spits begrudgingly, handing the prepaid invoice with his seal on it to you. You grab it with a flourish and grin. Pleasure doing business with you, as always, Tartaglia. You nod, turning around. Wait, Miss YN, Tartaglia calls. What now? Scaramouche rolled his eyes. He hands you a cream-colored envelope. The Fatui are holding a ball 2 days from now. Since two of us are already in the city, I trust that you've already been invited given your prominence in Liyue. But I'd love to have you there. Love? You've never loved nobody in your life. You'd sell your own mother for that much with anybody, scoffs Scaramouche. Touchy, touchy, retorts Tartaglia as you stifle the laugh, taking the invitation in your hand. It's a date then. The world record for unparalleled rage and jealousy in denial was set by a deep indigo-haired man standing at the Liyue harbor after hearing that statement. You know, you really need to get a life, Tartaglia says, sipping whatever concoction the bartender handed to him. The crowd mills around the table. Scaramouche and other harbingers were leaning on, and he rolls his eyes. Shut up! Nobody asked you, Tartaglia, he says. If it weren't for the fact that there was nobody else who Scaramouche could moderately tolerate in the room other than his fellow harbinger, not that he would tell him that, he really wouldn't be at the table right now. No, really, Tartaglia continues, undeterred by his partner's obvious lack of interest. Consider actual relationships with people instead of random whores all the time. Tartaglia grins at a very attractive and very single young lady who passes by him. Scaramouche glares. Like, get yourself a fun partner. Not a bore like you. He pauses to laugh harshly. Imagine you, Scaramouche 1. I hate the world, fuck everything. He deadpans. And then, Scaramouche 2. I'm dead inside, fuck everything, so depressing. My brain is getting smaller every time you open your mouth, he murmurs. But the rosette-haired male goes on. Get someone who's fun, who can tolerate your crap, who's smart. Oh hey, someone like her. He points Tartaglia at a female entering the room and garnering, well, everyone's attention. Scaramouche wasn't the type to gape, but today, everything seemed to fly out of the window as you walk confidently into the room, your mouth's hanging. Teases Tartaglia as Scaramouche begrudgingly tears his eyes away from you to glare at the now tipsy fellow harbinger. He had to admit, though, as it came to many things with you, that you looked stunning. He couldn't care less about the dress. In his opinion, it was a tad bit bright, but you seemed to enhance its brightness, positively radiating with self-assured confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove anything to the numerous eyes around them. Ooh, the ballad here's in love, coos Child, the slur being more and more audible in his voice. as the hustle and bustle of the crowd below them increasingly as well. Lightweight, murmurs Scaramouche. Downing his wine in a single gulp, he feels mousy. Feeble tap on his shoulder, which he immediately associated with one of his subordinates, tugging at the fabric on his shoulder insistently. "What is it?" he asks, without turning around. "Your Eminence, it's time for the dance," he murmurs. Scaramouche sighs again as Child whoops. "Dance? Why do we do that again?" Child asked, and Scaramouche couldn't agree more. Mindless mingling with the brainwashed masses was hardly his ideal pastime. Well, Your Eminences, you need to interact with your investors, patrons, diplomacy, he squeals. Uh, intones Tartaglia, and Scaramouche finds himself agreeing once more. "Oh, wait! I can go dance with Ryan," claps Child, and Scaramouche comes screeching to a halt. He would not be upstaged by a drunk Tartaglia. "Move, vermin!" He grabs the taller man by his collars and yanks him backwards, striding towards the marble floor. Your eyes catch his across the floor, and he as he grin. Walking from the other end of the room, his cheeks feel flushed, his hands clammy, and his gait unsteady. And you, the absolute opposite, confident, indifferent, graceful, so, Your Eminence, Scaramouche! A shrill voice invades his eardrums, and one of the flashiest cheongsams he's ever seen invades his field of vision. Blocking your silhouette, arms enveloped him, and he's looking into the eyes of someone that's not you. He sees your fleeting grin get covered by a mop of shaky rosette hair, and once again, he has been upstaged, and it was by a drunk. Has his life truly come to this? The excitable woman in his arms nods obviously, and he sighs. Yes, it has. After what seems hours of grunting and non-committally replying to the who's who of the Liyue foreign affairs scene, including the Tianchuan herself, and the idiotic Qixing and their coincidentally desperately single children, Scaramouche swears he's ready to drop to the ground. Exploring an abyss mage dungeon would be more fun than threatening to electrocute the next flirty spoiled brat who asks him whether they could try his hat. Speaking of flirt, Tartaglia seemed to get more and more drunk by the passing second, and at this rate he could see himself taking the Harbinger home. Since he didn't want to end up with Child in his arms, he purposely makes his way to the bar, and before he can snatch the possibly 15th glass of wine out of Tartaglia's anticipating hands, something else does that. "Tartaglia, let me spot that one for you." You smile sweetly, dumping it into the green plant behind you. "You've drunk enough for the night. We can have the fatui reeling under alcohol, can we?" You remark as Tartaglia, a grown man, lets out a squeal, and he flings his hand around your neck. "Ryan," he sings, dragging your name, burying his face into your neck, perfectly drunk. Scaramouche's knuckles turn white, grabbing the edge of the bar as he clenches his jaw. "Tartaglia, you utter moron." And if it couldn't get worse, Tartaglia raises his lips and murmurs words into your ear that resulted in you blushing a bright red and making eye contact with Scaramouche briefly. "What the fuck, Tartaglia? What the fuck are you saying to her?" he yells. Internally, of course, Tartaglia, with one last subdued hooray, slurs "true love" and slumps into the bar table, a mess of drool. You giggle, patting his rosette hair and looking at Scaramouche, who was right now rage and confusion. "Would you care to go for a walk, short stack?" The garden in Liyue, for Scaramouche, were things he admired. Rolling, perfectly manicured lawns, punctuated with ponds lit with golden lanterns, and, if you were lucky, poised cranes as well. Rigidity and efficient, and above all, elegance while doing so. He can taste the salty ocean breeze at the tip of his tongue. You sway gently while walking. He notices, and your dress is bunched in your hand so the skirt doesn't get wet by the dewdrop grass. He doesn't feel the need to talk or make the usual snarky comments. It is a comfortable silence. something that he is unfamiliar and awkward with, but he will not say it. You stop and he does. You must think. The gardens are beautiful, you murmurs. No suffix of insult. He nodded. And since he is legally obligated to lie because of his sovereign, for every word that needs to leave his lips must be a declaration of fanatic nationalism. He adds, the gardens of Snezhnaya, though. Yeah, you wave him off. Snezhnaya this, Snezhnaya that. Do you even think for yourself? You say lightheartedly, but he bristles. I'll have you know, Snezhnaya is perfectly diplomatic. Don't listen to outside propaganda. I noticed how you were looking at the gardens, short stack. Your tone is lilting, teasing even. You like them, don't you? I do. They are beautiful, well-kept, elegant. They do not compare in the entire world to anything that I've ever seen. When I see them, rarely, they reminded me of an oasis in a desert, giving me respite. I feel comfortable in them, dare I say, I like them. You look at him, expectantly, knowing full well that the conversation has exceeded that of a garden. He nods once again, firmly. I do. You break out in a smile. And it's not your lazy Cheshire cat mocking one, but a genuine one, and he knows, having studied numerous faces. Well, I can't really blame you. The gardens are really beautiful. Elegant, confident, cut the crap. You know damn well that it's not gardens we're talking about. He grumbles. Gardens were beautiful, but you were stunning. Oh, who are we talking about then? You tease again, hands behind your back and swaying again. He frowns but breaks out into a sigh. You, of course. You always loved me, didn't you? You rhetorically ask. Loved? Woman, I've wanted to marry you since day one. Hi everyone, it's me V. I just wanted to thank everyone who subscribed to me because we just reached 570 subscribers and wow, it's so awesome. I mean, I didn't really expect it to reach more than 500. Well, of course, I truly hoped I would reach numbers as high as that, but it kind of felt surreal. Um, I can still remember that day where I almost didn't upload my very first content because I was so nervous and I didn't, I don't know if people would like it. You see, my voice is probably my biggest insecurity and I don't really like how I sound, but reading your comments saying that you like it and somehow it's soothing, calming even, it makes me so happy that I am able to give that kind of emotion. So, yeah, I hope you keep supporting me in the future. I will definitely upload more. Um, just pardon me for this time because I'm really busy, but I will try my best to make it up to you. Um, I would like to thank my beloved for supporting me so much. She had been my biggest supporter ever since, even before I tried uploading this. Thank you very much. And of course, to you that is listening up until now. And that's all. Thank you very much. And I hope you all the best and stay safe.